Hey everybody, Bones here, Bones Garage, just bringing the update what's going on at the garage. So, 1966 Chevy Chevelle SS 396. We have the motor in the back. We are doing all of the work on it. First thing we did, we're ready to start building the motor back up again. So, the first thing we did was we pulled this cap off, this rear main cap, because the seal back here was leaking really bad. And you can see, if you look down back here, you can see that seal. See the blue seal right there? That is the oil seal. That is your rear main seal. And then you see that little gray bulge there? That little gray bulge is a little bit of silicone to seal in between the two seals, because it's a two-piece seal. So we replaced that. The original one was bad. When we pulled the cap off and we looked, you can see a gap between the actual seal lip and the bottom and the crankshaft itself. So got that all taken care of. We just put the cap back on, getting ready to put the oil pump back in and get all this taken care of. We have a one-piece oil pan seal. It's the blue silicone seals that's going to go on here, rather than the four-piece seal, which they usually will leak from the corners here and here on both sides of the motor. So we're going to get rid of that, put in a nice one-piece seal. It will help stop any leaks. If you give me a second, I'll turn the motor over and show you the other side. Hold on. Be right back. Okay, so now that we have the motor turned over, I can show you some of the other stuff that we've done to this motor so far. And one of the main things that we have done is the block deck right here. This is your deck. All of this here. That is the block, and that is your deck. And one of the things that we found was we had big gaps here, somewhere around 4/1000ths of an inch. This had a divot, and in other spots. And what it seemed like, somebody had taken a grinder to take the gasket off of the block. So what we do is we take a straight edge and we measure across that way, and we measure across this way. And we take a feeler gauge and feel in between the straight edge at all the critical points. And when you can take the feeler gauge and just stick it under the straight edge with, say, a 2/1000ths, you're pretty much okay. You shouldn't have much of an issue with any kind of blowing head gaskets or having water or oil leak somewhere in the head gasket area. We had 5/1000ths of an inch in some spots, even up to 6/1000ths of an inch in some spots. So what we do is we take a piece of square metal tube. See that square metal tube right there? And we put some sticky paper on it. Now, first thing we do is make sure this square metal tube is straight. It's straight across. There are no divots or defects in the metal. Then we take the bar and we come across to the motor and we take it and cross it. So you're sanding this way and then you sand this way. So as you're going across, you're pulling down, and then as you're coming back across the other way, you're pulling down and then pushing back up. So you're making X's. If you look real close, you could see how everything's cross-hatched. And we do that until we see all of this cross-hatching everywhere. Because as you get low spots, like right here, you could just see that there's a little bit of a low spot right there where the cross-hatching just started coming in and touching the actual metal. So we were touching here and here, but we weren't touching right there. So we keep sanding until you start touching. Same thing on this bit right over here. We had that same problem. And then we had that problem really bad right here, where it looks like somebody hit this with a grinder real hard and caused this to round downward. So we kept sanding. You can see right there you can see a little bit of where the block just was barely touching. And we really couldn't go much further because it would have taken a lot to get that deep divot out. So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of shellac over this. It's called Indian head, and that's what we use, is a shellac. We'll just take it and go all the way around all of these ports, just to make sure that everything seals once we start torquing down the bolts. So we do that until we get a nice, clean, smooth deck. The cross-hatching also will help the gasket stay in place. It will actually have a physical grab to the metal of the block. We also sent the heads out, and I think I showed you in a previous video. We sent these heads out and had them, God, they're so heavy, had them machined, and you can see how nice the machining is. All of this surface right here that you see that looks brand new, that was machined. We ended up having to take just over 5/1000ths of an inch off of the surface of the head to get it perfectly flat. So with this perfectly flat and that very close to flat, we should not have any more leaking problems out of the back of this part of the head. Nor should we have any more leaking problems between cylinders, because that was something that we were noticing when we took everything apart. We saw the little jet. There was a little tiny bit of a mark right here where these two cylinders were pushing compression back and forth. So we should have all that taken care of and ready to go. We have everything all set up. We are just about ready to start putting this motor back together and get it back into the car. And again, this was our old head gasket. And you can see, no, this is the, yeah, right here, you can see where it was just bypassing. So we now have new, nice Felpro gaskets, the correct ones for these heads. They have both the holes on the rear side, so we get good flow of water through the motor, through the head. Everything is going to be really nice with this. There's our camshaft right there, harmonic balance, timing cover. We have a new seal in the timing cover. Everything's all clean, smoothed out. Everything's ready to go back together with that. Our timing chain, it was still good. No need to replace it. We're going to leave it. We have all new head locating dowel pins that we're putting in. These are for the timing cover. They're the studs that go into the block for the timing cover. And you can see, these are nice. They're still probably good, but I just prefer using new. It's just, you got it this far, spend the extra $2. Get the new ones and put them in, because these go right in here like that, and they help locate the gasket and the head onto the block. So you really would, it's really good, just buy new ones. They're not that expensive. So there you go. That's what we have going on so far with this motor. Everything's cleaned, everything's ready to go. Everything looks really good. We'll get her all done. We'll get her into the car and get this car running. I will talk to you real soon. Have fun. Okay, bye.